Welcome to episode 7 of our Healing Voices YouTube channel and podcast. I'm really excited for today's interview, excited to drop in with my brother over in Chicago. Super grateful for you being here.
Thank you.
Our Healing Voices podcast, those of you who are just listening in for the first time, the vision here is just that this healing journey that we're on each as individuals is also a collective experience, that we're all a part of something bigger, that we all have great impact on one another, and our healing, just a reminder that we're not the only ones on this path. And so I'm excited to continue to, bring people on so that we can all remember this fact that, like, I'm doing some courageous healing over here in California. Schmid's doing some courageous healing over in Chicago. Wherever you're at, you're doing your courageous healing, and it's unique and it's different. And that's the voices part. Our healing voices is, each of our voices is so critical and so important to share, and to just to continue to speak and be honest and share about this healing that we're all undergoing, because it's, I think it's for all of us. In my humble opinion, I think this healing is for all of us. And I'm just grateful to be on the journey with you, Schmid, and with all of you who are joining us on YouTube or on the podcast. So without further ado, Schmid Etienne and I, we go back to college at Manchester College, which is now Manchester University in Indiana.
Right.
And we ran track and field together. And I honestly remember bumping into you the most in the weight room. I think you were doing your best to level up your track game, and I was doing my best to level up my track game, knowing that the weights world was going to benefit us in that out on the track.
Mm-hmm.
So, and let me just do a little, read your bio and share with everyone a little bit more about you. All right, Schmid Etienne is a minority and service disabled veteran entrepreneur, owner and president of Seraphim Exercise Engineering Studio, R.E.S.S.E.T Studio. He's also the co-founder and CEO of R.E.S.S.E.T Studio, a research-backed stress management and mood-altering program that is designed to teach individuals how to effectively manage stress under 10 minutes by simply using their senses. Schmid has a master's degree from Northeastern Illinois University in exercise science with a focus in biochemistry and human movement, as well as numerous graduate and advanced level programs in neuromuscular systems, rehabilitation, and biomechanics, such as muscle activation techniques, resistance training specialties, and muscle system specialist as well. He completed the Bunker Labs Veteran Entrepreneur Programs in Chicago through Chicago's Center for Technology Entrepreneurship, best known as 1871. He has 7 years of experience in fitness club management, staff development, and 13 years as a fitness professional experience, and 4 years in counting as an exercise engineer. Schmid is currently focusing his time and energy in learning and understanding psychophysiology and its role in the improvement of health. My man. So let's dive in. I'm so grateful for you being here.
Thank you.
Really excited. And just excited for everybody to get to know you better, and also for myself to get to know you better and to learn more about your journey up till now. So if you wouldn't mind just kind of dropping us in a little bit on your life journey up to where you are sitting right now, what have been some of the key experiences in your life that have kind of impacted your flow and your, where you've headed in your life journey? That would be awesome.
Thank you. First of all, thank you so much. This podcast, I think, is amazing. To be able to let all of us know as healers and that we are not alone is a powerful thing. And I cannot wait to see this just blossom and help so many others. Awesome. So for me, my journey of this concept of healing really started after college. Most of you guys probably know I'm from Haiti, came here when I was in my teens, no English whatsoever. So that was a big change. That was change number one, learning how to navigate in this new world where I didn't speak the language. I didn't know the culture. There was one thing that still today, the trauma, I would say, the stressors that I undergo in that time period, still today have a little bit of residue. Sometimes they cause a little bit of insecurity, either when I'm speaking or talking to people or even expressing myself.
Yeah.
So, process that I'm still working, evolving from.
Yeah.
But after college, my father actually lost his home within that same year, lost his wife. Within that same year, undergo a lot of different stressors. He owned several cab, the medallion in Chicago.
Yeah.
He lost one of them, which cost him a lot of money. And I watched him change from a state of the man that he was to a person that's constantly undergoing health issues. And then about a year after the whole entire incident of his wife, his home, and so on, he had a stroke. And watching him coming out of it and trying to make peace with it, he loved the guitar, and not being able to play the guitar was like a big, watching this man that loved this thing, but his body just couldn't do it. And so at that point, I was trying to figure out, why is this happening? So that was my initial push in the whole entire fitness world, because my degree at Manchester had nothing to do with fitness. It was in French literature. So it's like shifting, you know? So
Yes.
I really started diving into this whole process, learning about it, understanding it, because I wanted to help him so badly. One, for him, and second, for myself, watching him, you know? And from there, I went and got my master's. After my master's, I realized I didn't know much. I proceed with further certification as well as courses that start moving more and more. And I started working with different group of people that had a different aspect of life, which is what I was like yearning for. You know, so at that point, I realized I needed to learn more. Then my journey really started after that, when working with my dad, interacting with him, and seeing a person changing or acting a certain way. And I realized that the physical body can impact the way a person thinks. I'm like, okay, we gotta figure this out. And I started my own journey at that point, trying to understand life. I had a breakup during that time that shattered my world. So it's like, at that point, I'm like, wow, I'm in pain. I'm trying to help someone else. How do I take care of myself? And the first one was, I had a life coach that really started providing me things to read. As I was reading more and more, and I started getting into meditation, and I was like, wow, this is cool. This is different. Like, how are those things making sense? For me to just pause for a moment and I can feel goodness, or for me to like find a way to decrease noise around me, and I just feel a little bit better. And I'm like, and I'm starting to feel sensations when they are coming up. And like, why is this happening in my world? And then I would spend more time with it. And I'm like, oh crap, when I was little, this ties in together. And at this point, I started reading further, reading books that I never thought I would read. And I decided to take a journey of ayahuasca.
Okay. Wow.
And that was like cracking the shell open. And it was, yeah.
It's got chills over here.
It was different. From ayahuasca, I realized aspect of myself, aspect of the world, connection. Again, it's not something I would suggest everyone should do or everyone can do, because it was a hard journey in that. It was 8 hours of literally you facing the inner world of your mind and facing it, where you have to find ways to heal it, accept it, and integrate it. And it doesn't, it's after the journey, this night, it really started after that, because you really start to see the interaction in your world. So that was the big thing. And I took that and added more of it into my practice. My practice is really about, my whole goal is to help people move better. We were born to move, to interact. Our muscles allow us to communicate, hand gestures, hugs, waves, whatever. But when we start feeling some kind of inhibition or lack of mobility, the inability to do what you used to do, then you start losing the zeal for life. You start losing certain aspects of yourself. And that helped me understand what my dad was going through. Not being able to play the guitar made him not being able to express himself to the world. And to me, it's like, I want to help people move better so they can live better, you know? So there was the whole entire concept in the genesis of like the beginning of this journey, and being part of great communities that challenge my way of thinking. I have a group of beautiful human beings that are part of, it's called Muscle System, and they literally challenge the way you think. They, you know, how to view the body, you know, not just from a research perspective, but like looking at it from like individual person assessment. So it's been wonderful. So that's kind of like the genesis of it. And it's still in the process. And I still feel like I'm just the tip, you know, so much more to go. So I'm very excited about what's next.
Wow. Yeah. So good. So good. I mean, as you're sharing and talking about just that, I mean, the childhood, the transition of moving, you said junior high or high school?
Eighth grade.
Eighth grade.
Yeah.
And I'm hanging out with my eighth grade nephew right now, you know, and I cannot even imagine. So that you started there just about just coming into school in America, not speaking English. Yeah, man, that would have, I mean, I just empathize as I hear you share that. I'm like, after being a high school teacher for 5 years, I can only imagine.
Yeah, it was tough because you can't have a proper conversation with anyone.
Right.
It's hard.
Yeah.
No one understands what you are saying. In my culture, school is different. So we had to dress up for school.
Okay.
So coming to the States where everyone was wearing sneakers, shorts, jeans, or whatever was like different. It's like, why is this guy wearing dress shoes in the gym? You know?
Yes.
And people are pointing and laughing. And you know, what I always tell people is that I was blessed that I understood nothing. I didn't understand what they were saying.
Yeah.
Because maybe some of the hurtful things, again, it's kids, right? That they were saying to be cool or to feel cool could have impacted me even greater, but I understood nothing. So I just smile and laugh and nod my head, you know?
Yeah.
So yeah.
As you went into high school, when did you start to feel that confidence with English and connecting, you know, conversing with others? Like, how long did that take? What was that?
That took me several years, actually.
Yeah.
So one cool story that I always tell about my best friend is that so my dad dropped me off in high school, and he's like, okay, you see the sign, follow that sign. And it was for the football tryout. I remember I try out for football in my dress shoes.
In your dress shoes?
Yes, dress shoes, slacks.
Okay.
And I remember everyone was looking at me. They were all laughing at me. And I remember we were in the gym and we were doing tryouts, we were sprinting and stuff like that. And I did pretty well in dress shoes. And I made the team, which was great.
Yeah.
And I remember my best friend still today, he's Korean.
Yeah.
And he was the only one that somewhat accepted me at that moment. So I gravitated towards him. And I remember that day he was walking home, and I just wanted to be closer to him because I felt like he accepted me, and everybody else were laughing.
Yeah.
So I walked with him from the school all the way home. Right now I'm walking alongside him. We were not speaking really. He's talking. He probably assumed that I understood, but I didn't understand much. He got to his house and he said, okay, and he walked in. And I realized I didn't know where I was. because I was just following him. I don't know how to get home.
Right.
So at that point, I had to recalibrate and decide, how am I going to get home? So I started backtracking everything until I got all the way back to the school. And then from the school, I decided, okay, my dad wanted me to go to this corner and take the bus. And I went into that corner and took the bus home. So it took me about like 3 hours
Yeah.
to get back to the school so I can get home.
Wow.
Journey.
Yeah. Oh man, I want to watch your movie.
Journey.
I want to watch
Journey.
your that. I mean, I feel like I'm watching a movie as you're sharing.
Yeah. It's,
Oh wow, got it. So then, okay, so then you found Manchester, then headed back home. Your dad was going through lots of stuff, and then had a stroke, and that kind of ignited your heart, your
yeah.
passion of like, how can I help people move? How, you know, as you
That's right.
saw your dad just like go from a, you know, free flowing, strong man to a more fragile state. Yeah. Man. Yeah. Tell me a little bit more about like, just about that connection with your dad. I mean, what was that like? I mean,
So my dad is a very outgoing man. Like, he is the type of person that if he's around you, he's gonna pull out his guitar. He's gonna play the guitar for you. He was really good with playing Spanish style guitar, so it can move really, really fast. And people just like love being around him. He's always telling jokes.
yeah.
So just all overall, that kind of like burst of energy. So, and having that person around and coming to the States is the person that's saying, okay, this is what you need to do. This, this teacher kind of, or this person that I'm looking towards, because he came here and made something for himself, right? During that time, having or owning medallions, which are the value of cabs in Chicago, was a big deal,
Yeah.
So to know that, it's like, okay, this guy is doing well for himself, watching this man, and then flips 180.
Yeah.
This man is in the hospital, not able to move. Watching him, you can see that he's like, wow, this is it. Like, can this be it? And watching him struggle with it and working hard to move his fingers or move his hands, or just be able to take a step. That was hard to watch. And of course, in my culture, you have to be tough, which is another concept. A male doesn't show a lot of emotion, kind of thing. You have to hold it in. You have to always be brave, alpha male, that manly man.
Okay.
So it's like watching him trying to be a man, but I can feel his struggle,
Oh yeah.
and that is like heartbreaking. It's really heartbreaking because you can see that he's losing the value of what he thinks being a man is, because he's associating this physical stature or capability physically is what a true man is. But now that I'm learning, that's not even close.
Yeah.
It's not even a fraction of what I call being sapien is.
Keep going. Keep going. Yes.
Yes. Because that goes beyond just the physical aspect of it. You're just using this tool, this vehicle, to make impact, to help, to support, to move this collective forward. And watching him assuming at that point that his physical body was what makes him was hard. And it's like, how do I help him get this back? Also, he's having a hard time. He wasn't his happy self. This, I'm going to tell you a joke every time you come over, or I'm going to make everything turn to something funny. He wasn't that. It's like watching the light just getting dimmer and dimmer. And I'm like, no, my sisters, they were very supportive. They were like with him all the time. And in my culture, women were the movers of the house. You
Mm-hmm.
know, they're
Mm-hmm.
the one that, you know, so watching them taking care of him was like, okay, then how can I help? You
Yeah.
know,
Yeah.
because they were much older than me. So they doing what they do best. And I just wanted to add that. And I'm like, okay, maybe the fitness world or watching him working with a PT,
Mm-hmm.
you know, and helping him move and things like that. It's like, okay, like I can I can help him with that. Like I
Mm-hmm.
play sports in college, you know. I
Yeah.
used to do a few push-ups here and
Yeah,
there,
you did.
you know. I'm like,
Yeah.
I'm gonna use those skills.
Yeah.
And it was an awakening because what you think sports is in moving the system, the
Mm-hmm.
body,
Mm-hmm.
are two different things.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
So what kind of healing process like did he go on? Like as he was doing the PT, did you see like did he like get some of his movement back? What was
yes,
his, you know, and his
yes.
joy? Like was his joy gone for, you know, or
No, so again, as he started doing more PT, he transitioned out of the hospital. He started doing things, and again, he also had a yearning
Mhm.
to keep his manhood, I believe,
Mhm.
right? Because you don't ever want your children, from his words,
Yeah.
to like not be the one just taking care of you. That's his words.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I think he had a drive to get better. So I watch him transition from a person that could move his hands, that could move his legs or his leg, to now being able to walk, to be able to do things. When they transition him to the hospital to at home, he had a occupational therapist that would come in and help him out. And I would just do exercise with him as well,
Mhm.
like encouraging him to move. And I'm learning, I'm like, okay, those are the things that you do. And again, even though my knowledge then was so minimal
Yeah.
to what it is now, and even now I feel like I don't have the knowledge to even go further from what I want to do.
Mhm.
He was moving, and the support key is like the community that's fueling you, that's supporting you, that's acknowledging your little wins,
Mm.
fueling. And he went from not being able to move to playing the guitar again, brother. And it's amazing.
Wow.
It's amazing.
Yeah.
And again, my sisters are Christian,
Yeah.
um, and they would have prayers for him. And those are the different type of topics that people get very funny about.
Mhm.
Again, people will say, well, it's probably not the prayer because he's moving his hand. And I will say it's the collective effort
Yeah.
of the prayer and his effort and the community supporting him and him
Mhm.
getting rest, him sleeping and food and the love that he was getting
Mm.
add to this process.
Mm.
And now he's playing his guitar. Now there's certain things that when he gets really fast, you can see him, you know, but he's playing. He still enjoys playing. He still will play. If you meet him, that's the first thing he will do after he introduces himself. And then he will do a few talking. He's like, let me play something for you.
Oh my
You know,
goodness.
so
I
it's
love it.
wonderful watching him doing that.
Oh my, that's such a beautiful story. I definitely was curious because I'm like, wow. And one thing that jumped out, I love that collective vision, right? Where it's, you know, it's the prayer, it's the food, it's the love he was
Yes,
receiving, the little encouragement on the wins. You also said his drive,
yes,
like that jumped out of me of like that he had a will to shift things.
yeah.
And what are your thoughts on that, like that aspect? You know, you've interacted with many, I'm sure, of people on all different health paths, health journeys. Like how impactful do you feel like the mind is, um, as people are shifting a wellness story, right? Or a wellness, you know, a diagnosis from back in the, you know, you and I were messaging last week about
Yes,
backs, right? About
yes.
backs and like our journeys with our backs, and my knees, and you know, it's like, and just that healing process. What are your thoughts on how impactful this mind is on our?
Yes, I do believe that it's extremely powerful in this process.
Mm-hmm.
What How people view their state is a big deal,
Mm-hmm.
right? It's a huge deal. Like psychophysiology is really like honing in this concept.
Okay.
You having research that's looking at PTSD or stress or anxiety and how those states of mind or the state of being is altering how the body is contracting or the amount of force the body can generate.
Okay.
Those are powerful research that are showing you that the mind is important. Yes, it is. So if I'm working with someone that has the mindset, I cannot help them or they can't get better,
Yeah.
it's gonna be very hard for them to get better.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's gonna be very, very hard for them to get better because that mindset is a problem. I have worked with people that I have a gentleman, I call him my Superman. Like he's
Okay.
amazing.
Yeah.
From where he was, multiple surgeries, dialysis, you know, kidney failure. That man is kicking. Like, I mean, his psyche is something out of this world. The way that he viewed a thing, the way that he viewed progress, what he wants to do. And we progress from one stage to the next. He wanted to ski better, and he get back to skiing, and that's something that he loves doing. So they're doing it. So the key is that the mindset plays a huge role in it. You know? And sometimes my thing is like, yes, there's diagnosis of certain things, but yet don't let someone just shut off your fire just because they used to see X happening with this particular thing, and then take this end result and drops it on you. Like, this is exactly what's going to happen to you.
Right.
And you feel like, I have no choice.
Yeah.
No, you can still kick. You can still push.
Yeah.
You have your own fire.
Yeah.
You know? So yes, there's this probability.
Yeah.
But still, there's so many anomalies that flies out of this probability.
Yes.
You know, you look at the bell curve, there's still two ends that small group of people can actually make miraculous thing happen. You know? So don't get caught up with the wave at time and saying that just because everyone failed this thing, then I'm going to fail. No, the moment that you do that, you just gave up your power, the ability to ignite that extra fire that can take you further. You know?
Totally.
You know, some people would say things to me of like, I don't think I can ever do this.
Yeah.
They're like, yeah, you shouldn't even think that way. Yes, we're gonna progress there. There's many ways. Like there's a theory that I like that's called it's called theory of incompleteness.
Okay.
By a mathematician called Kurt Gödel. And his concept, the whole gist of the theory is that if I ask you right now to pick the highest number between 0 and 1, but you can never equal to 1, can you pick that number?
The highest number? No. No,
Yeah,
because it's going to be like something over, it's going to be like an infinite number.
That's
right?
Correct. The moment that you say, well, it's going to be 0.99999, the moment that you reach that number, you realize there's a potential for another.
Yeah.
And this potentiation is the essence. So you keep, regardless of how bad it is, there's still a potential to be better.
Yeah.
And there's still a potential for it to get worse. Which side do you want to put your weight in? I will always go towards getting better. That's just me. Right. So we need to understand how powerful your thought process can be in that. You know, I have another young man that I worked with, and the thing is, this man decides out of the blue, we just started working. It was very hard for him to even like run a mile. Right? Like weeks or probably like a month of training. He calls me and he said, I'm going to run a half marathon. Do you think I can do it? And I said, you're going to run what? He was like, yeah, I'm going to run a half marathon. Do you think I can do it? I was like, I think you can do it. He was like, okay, I already signed up. It's tomorrow. So right at that point, he probably just, again, I should ask him, why did he ask me? You know, but like at that point, he probably just wanted somebody to say, yeah, you can probably, you know?
Yeah.
But I will ask him that question. So it's like, The next day, that man went and ran a half marathon, and it was snowing in Chicago, and he finished it.
That's awesome.
Years later, he did an Ironman.
Wow. Yeah, that's next level. That's
That's a person
Yeah.
that could not run a mile.
Right.
Now, can everyone do this? It's your mindset gonna stop you. Your body can play a role. Don't get me wrong.
Right.
The physical structure of your body can limit you.
Mm-hmm.
It can limit you. The structure of your body, your DNA, the programming that you have gotten from day zero until then,
Yes.
plays a huge role as well. And how far can you get?
Mm-hmm.
But still, you can still rewrite it. You can still reprogram it. That's the potential that is always there. You know what I mean?
So
like,
good. So good.
yeah. People need to understand, like, everything in your body needs a potential aspect. Like you have to potentiate a muscle for it to go. Like, you have this potential curve where it needs X amount of potassium and so on. Once you hit the threshold, then spark happens. You think, we wave our head, we move. All that is constant, hundreds of potentials happening in our body for us to do this. So we are constantly potentiating to be better or to be worse. Depends on your state of mind.
Yeah. Wow, man. I'm loving this. I'm loving this. That, as you're sharing, I'm thinking back to two things. My knees it was anxiety. My low back, like, I'm thinking about like energy centers and chakras and stuff. And like I had a low back problem at 17. Okay, maybe it was structural, but I think it was my anxiety. Like, as I look back on my 17-year-old self, I'm like, the lower chakras, like, I had all sorts of dysfunctional thinking going on and just challenged thinking going on. I'll just be honest, and it was like, sure, I'm shocked, not shocked that I had a back issue, I woke up this morning, my back was a little frazzled, which happens occasionally. I went to bed not actually speaking my truth to my wife before bed, and so then this morning we went on a jog and I talked to her about what I was processing before bed, and my back feels good now. But it's just it's like cellular, like as I think about my body, it's like, just, it's listening, right? My cells are like listening to what I'm talking, like how I'm speaking about it. It's like, oh, my back again, or whatever, like, versus, okay, what happened in the last 48 hours emotionally that like triggered something back there, like, anyway. So as I'm listening to you talk, it's why not believe that we can heal this back thing?
That's correct.
Or these knee things, or whatever they are.
Yes.
I have to choose that. I have to choose that belief. Why? Because people like yourself have achieved healing. Like other people have achieved similar healing with similar ailments, similar challenges. It's possible.
It is very possible.
Very possible. So, okay. So anyway, I love what you're working on. I want to go in a little bit on R.E.S.S.E.T Studio.
Oh, awesome.
Because, you threw out the word or the letters PTSD as you were sharing, kind of talking through. And I know that part of your life journey impacted your journey to like create R.E.S.S.E.T Studio.
Absolutely, yes.
If you don't mind sharing a little bit with folks about your journey and how R.E.S.S.E.T Studio came to be, and what your goal is with that business, and you and your co-founder or whatever. I would love for you to share a bit about that evolution.
Absolutely. So R.E.S.S.E.T, which usually that's the joke, people will see it and it's written R.E.S.S.E.T.
Okay.
And we usually tell people it's not that we misspelled it. Yeah. It's an acronym. The acronym stands for Reducing Environmental Stimuli for Self-Evaluation Techniques. R.E.S.S.E.T.
Awesome.
So in 2005, my unit was deployed to Katrina. Again, veteran.
Yes.
So during that time in Katrina, we did basically the regular stuff, such as patrolling the streets, making sure that we set checkpoints to make sure things are safe. There were not anything crazy going on, making sure that like some of the homes they didn't have any people in them, bring food and stuff like that. A lot of the regular grimy dirt, stuff. And I remember there was one home that we used to pass by. There was an older lady that lived there, and we would pass by on a regular basis to bring her food. And she didn't want to leave because she went back after the water went down because she didn't have home insurance and she didn't want to lose her home. So, and then there's a lot of stuff that was going on inside of the stadium as well that was unsafe for some people. So she really stayed there. So we would drop by and bring her food. And there was like the smell that always came out. It was like just, especially when it's really hot. In Louisiana, it's really hot. It's just, so now, fast forward 5 years later, minding my own business at a barbecue, and the smell of the barbecue on the grill literally took me back. For a period of time, I was frozen in front of her house, smelling that same smell. And it was not until my friend touched me that I realized I was in Chicago.
Yeah.
And again, I know there's a lot of veterans that have dealt with greater trauma than this, like death trauma, seeing bodies trauma that are much worse than this. But this smell stayed with me. And my thought process after I came out of this little period was, what about if I was driving and this happened?
Yeah.
I could kill people, kill myself, or whoever else that's in the car with me. I'm like, I gotta figure this out because this is weird, because it felt real. It felt as if I was there, like I could see it.
Wow.
So I started looking at like, what is the whole concept? And I realized that as I was talking to a couple friends that are therapists, and they were like, that's called PTSD. You having a flashback. I was like, no, I didn't want to associate that with PTSD, because I know people that actually have PTSD, and it's from combat or something else. And my therapist, my friend then was explaining, well, no, there's degrees of it. You need to understand there's degrees of it. It's that concept of bringing that trauma or something trigger this scenario. So as I dove in more, I was really looking at it and understanding the process, researching about it. And as I start progressing in my own career in understanding neuroscience, neuromuscular system, how the brain works, how the senses are so powerful. Like, people need to understand that our senses are the way that we make sense of the world, the way that we interact with the world, the way that we actually make impact using our hands, the way that we change things with our senses. But we also encode information through our senses, a smell, a sight, or interaction here, somebody listening to this. It's programming information in your mind that's been stored as memory. And then funny about it is that the senses also can be used to bring out those different type of memories. Sometimes things that is like hidden in your deep mind or your subconscious that you never even thought about, and then you smell something or you heard something or you walk somewhere and the whole scenery just evokes something. It's like, whoa, oh my God, I totally forgot about this. So I wanted to really dive in. So I met my business partner. We were talking. My business partner also went to her own thing where she attempted suicide before, and there was a big deal talking about it. And from that interaction, we were like, what about if we do something? And our first thought was, we have so much noise that we are dealing with, these stimuli that we are dealing with every day. When do we get a break?
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
internally, we are processing and interacting to about 40 million bits of information per second. That's a lot.
Oh my goodness.
You know, you processing thought, sound, smell, core temperature. How am I hot right now? Is this thing itchy? Am I sweating? All this process is going on in the background. But when do we calm down and let the system move more towards parasympathetic system, which is more the healing, the coming down, the rejuvenating. So we were like, you know what? We just need to create something that way. And we found out about sensory deprivation.
Okay.
Like, yes. Have you done it?
No, I mean, no,
Dude.
fill me in.
So sensory
Oh wait,
deprivation.
I did do a pod. One of the, yes.
Yeah,
Okay, I guess I did.
like,
I did one.
We need to figure out something that way, right?
Yeah.
And we were trying to build a sensory deprivation studio, and that's why the name is R.E.S.S.E.T Studio.
Okay.
Right. So, and we realized then it's like the overhead. People have all these phobia about it. We really wanted to guide people through. And from interacting with people, we realized we shouldn't do that.
Yeah.
Let's change our thing and try to help people understand how powerful their senses are. Like, if you smell your favorite smell, the first thing when yes, that's exactly, you smell it and you just decompress. You just feel, just relax. Like, you know what I mean? Exactly. Even just focusing on your breathing. You can rise and fall of your breathing down regulate your system. We're like, okay, you know, thinking of wonderful things. You know what? Listen to my favorite music in the morning, which is what I do. Pharrell has a song called Happy because I'm happy, right? That's exactly, that's my alarm because I want to wake up and hear something positive, right? Or if those are the beauty about our senses. We can like shift our mood by just hearing our wonderful songs.
Yes.
Shifting our mood by watching your favorite comedy skit and you laugh, and laughter is even better, right? So because you cannot be sad and happy at the same time. It's not possible.
Yeah.
You can transition back and forth.
Yeah.
But never sad and happy. So therefore we're like, then we need to do something that engage the senses. We reached out to one of my friends she was getting her PhD in psychology. And we're like, how do we do this? How do we make sure that it's research backed?
Yeah.
And she was like, okay. She cracked her knuckles, did her hand, and we went to work.
Yeah.
And we end up with a modality that basically use your senses. So your experience with the card will never be my experience. So with that is it's individualized. And it's 54 cards. I always have them with me.
Yeah.
And the goal is I have them all over the house. So I can like, if I feel low, just grab one, shuffle, pick one, and it gives you a cue. And you follow the cue for that time frame.
Awesome.
And you decompress for that time. Now, if your life is chaotic and there's a lot stimuli coming at you, you may have to do this multiple times a day. But like as we learn more and more about stress, is that stress is not a problem, right? Acute stress, people call it, right? This short period of discomfort, this short period of moving away from what stability or balance or homeostasis is, this short period is not a problem. It's the long duration of it. When it's lasting hours, weeks, days, months, year, like you had a fight with your spouse and instead of talking about it or dealing with it, processing it, you end up holding on to it, or she did something or I did something and none of us talk about it, and it's there, it's on the shoulder, and it's that particular aspect of stressor, either psychological or a back or something that's in your home or in your workspace, in your relationship, that's there, that's always constantly cueing you to move away from what joy is, away from what stability is, away from what calmness is. That's that stress. We were trying to break this continuum.
Yes.
That's
Yes.
the key of it. We're going to break it so it's not long lasting. So if you want to use this 10 times a day, use it 10 times a day, because eventually it will stop working.
Yeah.
Eventually you will realize, oh, there's a gap between the stimuli or stimulus and my reaction. That gap is where you can make the decision. Oh, you know what? I'm not going to give you the power to change my emotions right now. I don't care.
Yeah.
A lot of people don't have that gap. It's so narrow. It feels like a cue, and I'm upset. A
Right.
cue, I'm angry. A cue, I want to destroy the world.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So that's the gap we're trying to increase or give you a break before you deal with it, right? If you are inside of a situation, the situation feels endless. It's like there. Things are intensified. You are there. The key is pulling away, detaching from this situation, from the scenario. And that's what we want the reset cards to do. And that's what they have been doing. And you can just use them anytime, anywhere. And the goal is to alter your mood, reduce stress, and allow you to what we call self-evaluate. Yeah, that's the beauty of the
good.
card.
So good. I love that. Cause yeah, I mean, as you're talking about the stress piece, it's, what do they say? 80% of our illness is stress related or something. I mean, it's something silly, right? So, and that prolonged stress that's where people are just carrying, if I'm carrying this thing I didn't talk about last night for 6 days, where's my back at 6 days from now? So this helps bring you into like less reactive, right? Or like, okay, having breath in those moments that, I'll tell you relationally, I tend to, and my family, I was raised by 2 counselors. So it's like immediate, like if I'm emotionally triggered, we just talk through it. So, but in my partnership, I've had to learn, like, I need reset cards, I need to smell my lavender essential oil to like.
And that's why we were talking about that. Remember we were having that, we have that talk because we wanted to be able to create these things that people can wear.
Yeah.
Create these things that people have access to the smell.
Totally.
So, and with this pandemic shifts the whole aspect of our business right now, but that's the beauty of that.
Yeah. As you're talking about them though, I'm so excited because I've been, brainstorming or thinking about in my mind to create like a little wellness basket sort of thing. And I'm like, I need to have a deck of the cards in there, a little, like put a few little like things together that can, and make it like share it with listeners, like where it's like,
let's talk about that.
So it'll be fun.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah,
absolutely.
I think that would be beautiful just to provide people these resources. I mean, this is what's available, but we're so here, right? We're so here all day. I mean, it's such a trip. Like sometimes I watch old movies, movies from the 90s, and I'm like, he's just sitting at the park. Sitting at the park? Are we allowed to do that? And I swore when phones first, like smartphones first started coming out, I was like, not me. I'm gonna, I remember being at the dance club, and my buddy would go to the bathroom and leave me there, and I was like tempted to want to pull my phone out every single time he would leave me to go to the bathroom. It's like, oh, I've got a second. Even though I know nobody's texted me, even though like I would just make it up. So I just really appreciate these cards you guys have created and this, this system, because wow, we need that breath, amidst our days, amidst stimuli, stimuli that are constantly coming at us. begging for our attention. It's like,
That's true.
all right, let me just pull out a card right now, put my feet back on the ground.
That's right.
Put my feet back on the ground. And yeah, anyway, beautiful, man.
Thank
Oh,
you. Thank you.
I'm so proud of you guys for creating that. And to the thing that I hear you doing that's so beautiful is, moments of challenge have ended up turning into your, like, it's almost like your your experience with your dad was like propelled you into this wellness world of how can I support others on their wellness journey, and then your experience, at Katrina in New Orleans or whatever, like triggered you into finding solutions, which anyways, I'm just grateful for you doing that, and making that your life's work of like, okay, here's some moments that, some people would have that experience, press it down,
Yeah.
push it under the rug or whatever. I mean, I'm just proud of you, man. I'm proud of you for.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
Yeah.
I really do. And I believe that everyone in any situation, it opens the door for you to have those opportunities. Again, we talked about it before, is where are you mentally in that state, right?
Yeah.
Because if we, again, what I like to do is use theories to merge this world of spirit, energy, with this world of matter, substance, right? So when you look at these theories, you merge them. Like I talk about the theory of incompleteness, right? You are there, and you can decide, am I going to potentiate this way or potentiate that way? Either way you move, you always figure out that you can go further.
Yeah.
If you are sad, you can still get more sad. If you are happy, you can still become happier. I mean, it's, and that's the beauty. Like when you are in a situation that is pressing on you, right? It gives you also potential to leap and understand, what am I learning from this situation, or what is this situation trying to teach me or mold me into? And you still have a choice to make that decision. I know it's not easy. I'm not saying that's an easy process.
Totally.
It took me what, long time to start thinking about it and still sticking with it. There's these up and down, these wave concepts, these cycles that you are finishing and opening, and we just gotta stay as consistent as possible.
Totally.
Consistency is the key, and it's not easy. And I'm not saying that it's something, oh my God, you just have to do pieces of it and enjoy the little wins. That's the key. People always think that it needs to be the journey. I need to get there for me to be happy, or for me. But guess what? When you get there, just like the theory, you will realize quickly the moment that you are there, there's more. And the happiness is gone. You know what I mean?
Right.
There's more.
Yeah. Ooh.
I know.
Oh, I love that. I'm so grateful for you saying like that piece just about like the little wins, and that it's not easy, because, I'm sure we have listeners that are going to pop on and hear, and it's like, no, it's not like what you're describing. And we don't know what other people have been through.
Yes, absolutely.
Story, the experience that they've had. I mean, I wish I could just be like, here's A, B, C, and D, but obviously we're all unique, and somebody, so I think we're all going to find, you talked about ayahuasca earlier being a really big opener for you, right?
Yes.
And I can, say that the cannabis world has been a very big opener for me, a very big healer. Like, honestly, I look at the last few years and the generational trauma work that I've been invited into.
Yeah.
That's been a part of that expansion, and it's like not been easy.
Yeah.
Again, you're easy, my easy. Like, I want to also say, like, we're also experiencing emotions. And I also don't want to say, like, I don't want to, I don't know. I have to share this piece because Sarah is reading a book or listening to a book on
Hmm.
one of the last like Holocaust survivors.
Hmm.
And she's a psychiatrist in San Diego area.
Okay.
And she's like 95,
Oh, that's good.
still
Hmm.
practicing or whatever, and has written this book. And she said, you know, you can look at her life having been in the Holocaust, and like, and what she's in her book, she says, I don't want to, she talks about pain. She sees it as, instead of it being a hierarchy of like, oh, the Holocaust versus, you know, Aaron's pain in childhood or
Yeah,
whatever, you know, like, so I appreciate you saying like the easy piece, like, cause I think, you know, I think we're both on that same page where it's like, this is courageous work.
it is.
And,
It
and,
is.
and some
And
days
you
it's
know,
like, I just want to take a break.
and that's the thing about being courageous again, it's like we talked about that earlier
Uh-huh.
before we started. It's like you don't want to feel like you by yourself in this journey, right? So my friend's gonna see this video and they was like, "Whoa, Schmid, I didn't know you." And it's like, yeah, because we never talk that way. And if we do, you will start challenging the concept of where I stand, as if where I stand is wrong.
Yeah.
Do you see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Or people will just say, "Wow, you're so far out there." Like,
Yeah.
but the concept is not people doing this work or moving this journey or me doing ayahuasca, which we talked about.
Mm-hmm.
It's a different mind. It's a different journey. It's a different healing process, you
Mm-hmm.
know, uh, and it's not for everyone.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And people will find their own fix. It could be getting baptized as a Christian,
Yeah.
right? It
Yeah.
could be you now deciding to become a monk.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, all of it is your journey, it's your struggle. Yes, just like you said, it's pain is pain.
Mm-hmm.
Your journey is your journey. There will
Mm-hmm.
be bumps, there'll be hardships. The key is like, are you staying true? You know, are
Yeah.
you becoming aware? Are you accepting? Are you integrating?
Mm-hmm.
Those are the steps I feel from my journey that's been literally helping me
Mm-hmm.
become aware of it, observe it, right? And then you're gonna decide, you know, I'm gonna accept this or not accept it, and then I'm gonna integrate it in my life. And I'm gonna move on again, do another cycle, right? And it's
Mm-hmm.
the next year. I'm gonna refine it, make it better. I'm gonna observe it again, keep it's the process. I use this process in the concept when I'm working with people, you
Mm-hmm.
know.
Mm-hmm.
I call it the RODAR, which you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Readiness, observation, decision making, and an action. And it's like you do it and you take the action. When you finish with the action, whatever result it is, you have to be ready to do it again.
Mm-hmm.
Or if
Mm-hmm.
not, like, okay, this did not work for me.
Mm-hmm.
You can put it aside, but there's still something that you learn from it, regardless of what it was.
Totally. Mm. So good. So good. So, um, as you're sharing, it makes me think of, in all of your studies and all of your researching and this journey, like what, are there any authors, or specific people that you're like, because I think sometimes for me, I'm like, what are they reading?
Yes.
Who are they paying attention to? Like,
Right, right,
that's a
right.
question that I'm always thinking. I'm like, who are they listening to right now? What are they, I'm curious, like, has there been one or two authors or presenters or speakers that you've heard, or researchers that you've heard where you're like, this has shifted my world in powerful ways, and you would recommend, you know, you would be like, definitely snag a book of this person or
Absolutely.
whatever? Like, is there anybody that you're,
Absolutely. So in all reality, I have several. We talked about one, Joe
yeah,
Dispenza.
yes,
Uh, man is doing fantastic work. Um, so I have a person that I've been reading. His work. He has many books. His name is J.G. Gurdjieff.
okay,
He wrote the book called The Fourth Way.
Wow.
one of the most thought-provoking, shifting your world, shaking the foundation, whatever you think you believe,
Yeah.
to recreate your own world and just attract great things towards you, as well as spilling out great things. And at times, it's all from those concepts. It's about you.
Mm-hmm.
It's all about you. And there's a concept about people feel like that's so selfish, though, but it's not.
Mm-hmm.
It's actually about you. I talked to a friend about this, where you got to look at the hierarchy of thriving. If you want to thrive in this world,
Mm-hmm.
right, you have to thrive in here, right? There's a hierarchy that it fits in, because the thought can only thrive in the mind, right? The mind thing, and whatever the mind can do, the mind can only thrive in the body.
Mm-hmm.
Because if there's no body, the mind can thrive.
Mm-hmm.
If there's no brain, there can be no thought, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, but the body itself can only thrive in this world, in relationships, interactions, eating, whatever. So that's this hierarchy of things within things, this fractal-based concept that we need to look at. Like, okay,
Wow.
right, you know?
Yeah.
It's the cool aspect. So Gurdjieff talks about this concept in his books, and it's wonderful. Like, you know, and this one is not a book. I think everyone should look at this movie.
Okay.
It's called What the Blip Do We Know?
Yeah. Yeah.
What the Blip Do We Know had Joe Dispenza in it.
Yeah.
He
Back in the day too, right?
Yes.
Back in the day. Yeah.
Yes, has all these physicists and doctors and researchers that, like, when people talk about those concepts, they always want to think that it's different than science. It's not different than science. It's the exact same thing. Just some of us have difficulty feeling certain things.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Some of us have tuned our senses to be able to feel energy.
Yeah.
Some of us have done that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Some of us are able to feel how people feel, or can walk into a room and sense and give out love. Some of us have worked this sensory and improved it along the way. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
One thing that I talk to my partner about is, like, developing our intuition with each other. So I know that, like, when we are little and we tell our parents something like, "Are you okay? I feel that something is wrong," and they will lie in the concept of trying to protect you and have you not worry. They will say, "No, baby, everything is fine," and you start doubting.
Ooh, yeah.
Intuition. Start doubting the fact that you felt that.
Yeah.
And next time you think twice. And that accumulates over time, when now if you feel or have a gut feeling or have a heartfelt something, you're like, it's just a gut feeling. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And we fail to realize that our body is constantly receiving information from the world around us.
Yeah.
And these scientists, physicists, quantum physicists are showing you how it's happening. So What the Blip Do You Know? Or Do We Know? Should be a great book to look at.
Yeah.
I mean, a movie.
Yeah, the movie. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, so good. So Joe Dispenza, and then say the second one, J.
J.G. Gurdjieff.
Okay.
It's spelled Gurdjieff.
Okay.
Let me make sure that I'm spelling it the right way.
Yeah. Oh, that's so good. So good. Yeah, I appreciate you sharing those, because that's I think that, you know, this is I'm excited for our ongoing conversation, and people who have listened, like, can be like, "Ooh, yeah, I want to drop in." If somebody were wanting to, you know, connect with you, via the social media world or whatever, like what is the best method for somebody to connect and really drop into further work with you, or you know, to have your services? I know you guys used to do quite I don't know how much you're with the quarantine reality, but presentations and like
Yes.
at companies and stuff. And I know companies are now doing a lot more online, but I'm sure you guys could potentially, I don't know whether that's on the radar, but offering, you know, workshops through online stuff. But I'm just curious, yeah, how might somebody best connect with you?
Yes. So we used to do workshop. Thank you for mentioning that.
Yeah.
So they can connect with us at info@R.E.S.S.E.T Studio.com, which is our
Okay.
email,
Okay.
or they can reach us on social media, which is at R.E.S.S.E.T Studio.
Okay.
Me directly, my social media is at Schmid Etienne.
Okay.
So people can
I'll
actually
make sure I put that on the,
yeah. So but for our social media, we try to use a card a day, and we try to post a card so people can get the chance to feel and experience the card. So it's been, so people can connect with us that way.
So
We'd love to connect with a few people and continue this conversation, especially with
oh yeah.
you.
Oh
I
yeah,
love what you are doing.
totally. So let's I have a final question, and
Yes.
we'll see where it takes us. But
Oh,
so you've got a room full of 10,000, 20,000 just sitting there, like, teach us,
yes.
like teach me, tell me, like, I, two or three things that that are going to help me level up. They're going to help me elevate my game, help me evolve, just help me like release what, you know, anyway, release whatever stuff that's no longer serving me. Yeah, what are a couple, two or three things that you might offer to this audience, obviously the
Yes, yes,
podcast
yes.
audience, the YouTube audience, but also the 10,000 people that are going to see this over the next decade, who are going to, you know,
Well,
or
or you say
shorter, who knows?
millions of people
Ex-
that will see this in the next decade or
exactly.
the next few weeks or so. All right, let's put this good energy out there.
That's what I'm saying.
So one thing that I would definitely say is that you need to manage your time. What I mean by that is that you need to carve out time in your day that is your time. So my partner and I, we have that. Like, it's my time. It could be my meditation time. It could be me reflecting time. It's your time. It's because we don't have that anymore, right? And when we feel like we are isolated by ourselves, we get scared. That's why, to me, there's a lot going on. People spend too much time by themselves. They're not so used to all the feelings and emotions that are being evoked in the space, you know? And it's like, okay, I don't like myself, or there's a lot of that going on, and you feel a feeling and emotion that you're not used to because of the fact that you're interacting, you pressing it down, and people now react on their spouse or react on their kids. And that's why you hear this rising in domestic violence now based on this quarantine happening. So one thing I would always say is time. Manage your time. It's the best currency you have. Use it to get to know you. Not you as like the higher thing. I'm talking about like this physical body. You need to become aware of what it can do. You need to become aware of the sensation that you felt in your gut. What does it really mean? And can you trust it all the time? You know what I mean? I'm a big believer of Kabbalah second law, right? As above, so below, as below, so above, as within, so without, right? And to me, is that we need to understand this in our lives, right? Like, our cells, and people can say this is far out there, but understand it. Our cells has receptors for its whole entire environment. Even foreigner, like a bacteria or virus that enters your body, your cell can identify it and make decisions instantly. This is not good for me. Let's adjust. Let's make things better. So if it's as within, so without, from a fractal base, we also have these senses. We can talk about hierarchy from all five senses, from other senses. Now we're talking from the spiritual world, from the energy world. We need to understand those senses. We need to spend enough time with ourselves and movement, internal, to understand, you know what, this is how it feels when something doesn't feel right, and I feel it here, or I feel it there. And that's always a cue. And then once you understand that, you become aware of this. You need to then try to master it. Master how to change it. Master how to improve it. Master how to use this body to do things that brings you joy, brings you happiness. Because if you are happy, I guarantee you, people around you will feel a little bit happier. Because you then gonna exude, even if they're having a bad day, you being around them can support. And you being in a good mood or in a great, radiant personality will help. So focus on the self. Like, I understand the power of the mind. I'm not gonna take away from that. But we need to understand, like, most people are so focused on the mind that they neglect your body. You know, so make time for you. If you don't know how to meditate, right? I'm gonna do my best to make it simple from our reset perspective. You meditate every day. We just don't realize it, right? Awareness. People say, become aware of your senses, right? If you walk in the mall, this is the best analogy. Well, to my opinion, gonna say, you walk in the mall, you are aware of a suit in the window. You becoming aware of the suit is the first stage, right? You then pausing at that window and looking at the suit, and the suit evoking an emotion in you is mindfulness. Because now you are mindful and you're having some kind of emotion, some kind of feeling. And if you now start visualizing, wow, I'm walking down the street with this suit on, or I'm going on a hot date with this suit on, me and my lady are doing this, me and my partner are doing this. Now you are using a certain aspect of meditation, visualization. So you just went through all three easily throughout the day. Daydreaming is a form of meditation. But people think that for you to meditate, you have to eliminate thoughts in your mind. It's very close to impossible. Those people that actually are achieving that are beyond gurus. You know? So the main thing is take care of your body, take care of the self, get to know it, understand it. This whole movement of self-care is that. Make time for it, cherish it, provide it with the right nutrients so it can function at its maximum, because anything that's wrong with it inhibits its ability to give you the right information. Think about it. When you're having your back pain, or I'm having my back pain, it takes away from your ability to care, to love. It takes away from your ability to think clearly. It takes away from your ability to be you or to be me. So we gotta take care of this vessel. We only have one, baby. Like, once it's done, it's done.
Right. You know?
So that's what I would say. Make time to get to know it. You know, like, celebrate it. You know, that's the only way then it can help you. Power is given. It can give you power to be better, do greater things. I don't want to use better that way, but do greater things, because you know when you say, hey, let's do this, it will do it with you. So
beautiful. That's wonderful. And because I as you're sharing it, I'm like, because I can over focus on this guy, I mean, in some ways, I don't want to be super judgmental of myself, but I can definitely spend more time here. Right. And it's like, it's amazing what a walk does. Like, it's amazing what if I put this guy over there and just go sit outside for 10 minutes. Like, what I'll see. Like
Yes.
what I'll, it's like, yeah, taking care of this body. Yeah. I mean,
Taking care of it.
yeah.
And I did a little seminar about that. Like there's like 5 components to take care of this thing.
Yeah.
We're gonna add the 6th one is in parentheses, but 5,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
1, the easiest one,
Mhm.
drinking water, staying hydrated.
Yeah.
So many people walking around dehydrated.
Mm-hmm.
2, get adequate and proper rest and sleep.
Mm.
Rest his body so it can rejuvenate. 3, find time to enhance your mental well-being. Do things that makes you happy. Smile, meditate, use our reset cards, whatever, right?
Yes.
That's 3. 4, proper nutrition. Eat something that high in energy. Sometimes just eat greens for a little bit. Maybe you stay away from meat for some time. I'm not saying I'm not gonna go against meat too much because I eat meat myself, but I'm seeing the beauty of why having like a vegan based diet could be helpful, right?
Mm-hmm.
Again, we need to understand where that food or vegetable is coming from too. So that's a different topic, not today. And then we have exercise, right? That's the 5th. And the 6th one is usually like nature. Have a great amount of exposure to nature.
Mm.
Get some sunlight, fresh air, walk in nature. Those things are designed to help you keep this beautiful vehicle that we have
Mm-hmm.
as close to, well, at optimal as possible. And,
Yeah. Dude, so good. So good.
so I hope it helps people understand how they can use that.
I think you and I both know, I mean, obviously I was in American public schools since I was 6 or 7 or whatever, but like tragically, we haven't, I mean, PE tried to do that for us, I think,
Mm-hmm.
or a health class here or there tried to do that for us. But I think that, I think making space for self-care, especially as most homes have started having, it's, both adults, if there's 2 adults in the home or both are working,
Yeah,
and it's like, and so it's go, go, go energy. And
yeah,
that self-care, we didn't necessarily see that modeled so well. We weren't really taught it in school. It was like,
yeah.
get your grades to get to college to buy a house or whatever.
That's correct. Yeah,
And it's like, and we kind of glossed over these pieces, and so it's like you saying, you listen to Pharrell, that's your alarm. Hear
yeah,
that happy song to start your day. Hearing these 6 things, I mean, we need to hear that every day. Like, go through that checklist. Oh, how's my hydration today? Crap. Okay. Where's some water? Like, all right, how's my nutrition today? Definitely had one too many of those.
That's exactly.
It's such a good, I just love that list because that can help us all just just kind of do the checklist of, okay, I rocked it in these 3 zones, but these other 3, tomorrow I'm going to give it a better go, or I'm going to give it
There
another.
you go. That's correct. That's correct. Absolutely.
Anyway,
Absolutely.
I love that. Well, oh my goodness, I'm so grateful to have you.
No, thank you. I do appreciate this time.
Yeah, and those of you who caught this live on YouTube or live on the podcast, we're grateful for your support and would love to connect. I think that's the goal of this podcast launch, is to connect us to one another, for all of us to know that we're in this together. This healing journey, it's not an isolated, we're not out on islands by ourselves. Like, we actually have powerful beings around us. And man, I loved listening to you. I love your voice. I'm ready to pick up your I don't know if it's on your horizon, but I'm ready to listen to you, just do meditation,
We
audio.
do have meditation. I'll send you some. Yeah.
Oh man, because as I listen to you talk, I'm like, I could listen to 10 minutes a day of just you dropping a meditation for me. But yeah, I just am so grateful for your wisdom and your voice,
Thank you.
and
Thank you.
offering what you've learned and how you've navigated through this life journey so far. And also your honesty has been super refreshing, that that this is not an easy path. That's when we look at the human journey, right? It's like there's a non-easy path that doesn't involve conscious evolution or healing. And then there's a non-easy path that involves conscious
That's
evolution.
the key. Yes.
I mean, one way or the other, you're still going to have human experiences that are challenging and difficult.
Yes.
So it's like, might as well lean into people like yourself, holy moly, to find techniques, man. Right? I mean, it's about all just what little techniques or tools can we add to our toolbox that's going to just help
propel us forward. Yes. So I'm just going to do the outreach right now. I know we're live and I don't want to.
Yeah.
So the thing is, I'm starting a podcast as well.
Yeah.
And I stated the name earlier, and I would love for you to come in and talk about what you are doing as well. And because I believe what you are doing is absolutely amazing. Like, it's a powerful thing. We talked about that before.
Yeah.
It's essential right now that people are hearing about this.
Yeah.
Okay?
Yeah. Hold on one second. Oh, poop. Somebody must have just popped on. Okay. Let's keep going. Well, do that one more time, and because then I'll just
absolutely. So to me, like, I would love to have you, because what you are doing is essential. We need more lights. We need more people standing around and giving ways to different energy concepts, and especially the work that you are doing with essential oil. As I'm starting to understand, doing my own research right now, it's like how powerful and how quickly the body can absorb it. It can enter the body and get to the brain in 2 minutes. So those kind of concepts are very, very powerful. I just started diving in, actually. I'll show you right now.
Yes. Awesome.
So we'll get to talk about that. And I would love for you to talk to people about what you are using, the oils that you are using. And I would love to, and learn more about it. So again, thank you so much for this opportunity.
Oh man, I'm so grateful. I'm excited for our future endeavors together.
Absolutely.
I just feel grateful to know that, sometimes as a man, sometimes I can feel like extra alone in this world of evolution, because it's like, it feels like if you go to a yoga studio, it's 78% women or whatever. It's like, it's just really refreshing to be able to drop in and be like, oh, okay, I'm not the only dude that's eating this stuff up, that really dive in. So
and this new sapien, because that's the name of my podcast, Becoming Sapien.
Yeah.
This new sapien person needs to release their emotion. And it's very hard nowadays to express your emotion as a man, or as a male figure, because people look at you differently. They think that you are weaker or have certain thing, because they are not used to see that level of truth or this level of openness. And sometimes people just get scared of it, that's why the loneliness. So I've been great. I have a wonderful mentor that I can just talk to, and he create this safe space for me. You know what I'm saying? For me to be able to do this. And I chat with him every 3 weeks and I feel like everyone needs that. You need to have a person that can create safe space for you to scream, yell, be emotional, and for you not to feel judged, because it's so easy for you to be like, oh my God, did this person just look at me? Did I say the right thing? I'm just gonna be vulnerable. Sometimes even when I'm writing is different, right? Because I can write and read it again. But when I'm speaking, sometimes words comes out the wrong way, or the accent change things. And I'm like, did they really understand what I said? Or I just said is instead of was, you know? And those are self-driven, self-creating insecurities. Or somebody just say, hey, you know what? Instead of people do that to me all the time. It's like, and I'm okay with it now. It's like, hey, Schmid, that's not how you say this word, or it's pronounced this way, or it's not that. And I'm becoming more comfortable. It's like, yeah, you know what? This is my third language, so I'm okay with you teaching me how to speak your language. But before, it was not like that. Before, I quickly cringed down. I was like, oh my God, I'm so stupid. Like, you should know this, Schmid.
Yeah.
So it's hard to do that. So I understand.
Yeah.
I understand.
Yeah, dude, you're amazing. I'm really appreciative and just really excited for all of your ventures and everything that you're touching right now and creating. It's
Thank you.
it's needed for sure. And yeah, anyway, those of you who caught this on YouTube or on the podcast, grateful for your support, grateful for your joining us. If you've been inspired today in listening and you feel like sharing this off to a friend who you think may benefit from this conversation, we'd love for you to do that. And anyway, big love to you, Schmid. Thank you so much.
Thank you for having me. I appreciate it.